Rich Cowboy walked past a beggar. Then his son whispered, "Father, that's Ma." The morning sun lay gentle over the dusty main street, gilding the hitching posts and the windows of the general store. People paused when the black truck rolled in, polished, powerful, unmistakably expensive. Everyone knew the man behind the wheel. Jacob Reed was a cattle baron, a self-made legend with land stretching farther than some towns' patience. He stepped out in clean boots and a crisp hat, his posture straight, his eyes forward. Beside him walked his young son, Caleb, small hand tucked into his father's calloused palm. At the corner by the courthouse sat a beggar woman. She wore a threadbare coat despite the warming day, her hair tucked beneath a faded scarf. A tin cup rested between her boots, empty but for a few coins that caught the light like apologies. Most folks walked past. Jacob did too, at least at first. Then Caleb slowed. His grip tightened. He leaned closer and whispered, voice trembling, "Father, that's Ma." The word struck Jacob like a kicked gate. He stopped so suddenly that dust puffed around his boots. He turned, stared, then looked again. The woman's face was lined, hollowed by years of weather and want. Yet beneath the grime and time, a familiar curve of cheekbone emerged, the echo of a smile he once knew by heart. "No," Jacob said, more to himself than to his son. "That can't be." Caleb nodded, eyes shining with tears he didn't yet understand. "She sings to me sometimes," he said softly. "At night. When you're working." Jacob's chest tightened. Memories rose uninvited, of a young woman with laughter in her eyes, of songs hummed while supper simmered, of promises made under a wide Texas sky. Mary had left years ago, the story told and retold until it hardened into fact. She'd chosen another life, another man, another road. Jacob had buried the hurt beneath acres of work and money earned the hard way. He stepped closer to the beggar. The woman looked up, startled. Her eyes met his, and something flickered there, recognition, fear, pride. She straightened her back as best she could. "Jacob," she said. The name sounded like a memory she wasn't sure she was allowed to keep. For a long moment, the street seemed to hold its breath. Passers-by slowed. Whispers rippled. "What happened to you?" Jacob asked, the question breaking from him before judgment could catch it. Mary glanced at the tin cup. "Life," she said simply. "And choices. And some bad luck." Jacob felt the old anger stir, then falter. He looked at his son, who knelt beside Mary without hesitation and pressed his jacket into her hands. "You can have this," Caleb said. "It's warm." Mary's lips trembled. She reached out, then pulled her hand back, as if afraid to touch something fragile. Jacob swallowed. "Why didn't you come home?" he asked. Mary's gaze dropped. "I tried," she whispered. "After the accident. After the bills. I went to the ranch. Your foreman said you'd moved on, that you didn't want reminders of what was lost." She looked up, eyes wet. "I didn't want to be a burden." The words landed heavy. Jacob remembered that year, the fire that took the old house, the debts that followed, his pride sharpened into something cutting. He'd told himself there was no room for weakness. He'd never thought how that rule might sound to someone already broken. "Come with us," Jacob said, the decision forming even as he spoke it. "We'll talk." Mary shook her head. "I don't belong." Caleb stood and took her hand. "You belong with me," he said, steady as a promise. The drive back to the ranch was quiet, filled with the hum of tires and thoughts catching up. When they arrived, Jacob watched Mary step onto the porch she once helped paint, her fingers tracing the worn rail like a prayer. That evening, Jacob lit the fireplace and set 3 plates at the table. The meal was simple, but it felt like a feast. Mary told her story in pieces, the accident that took her job, the sickness that ate her savings, the pride that kept her silent. Jacob listened without interrupting, the weight of years shifting inside him. Later, as the stars stitched the sky together, Jacob found Mary sitting on the porch, humming softly. It was the same song she used to sing when storms rolled in. "I was wrong," Jacob said. "I thought strength meant never bending. I thought success was something you protected by standing alone." He paused. "I forgot what we were building in the first place." Mary looked at him, searching. "And now?" "Now," he said, "I want to build something that lasts." The next morning, Jacob did something the town would talk about for years. He sold a slice of land, not for profit, but to fund a small shelter in town. He hired Mary to help run it, her gift for kindness becoming its cornerstone. He showed up every week, sleeves rolled, teaching Caleb to listen before leading, to see before stepping past. The shelter grew into a place of second chances. Folks who once passed by began to stop. Coins turned into conversations. Conversations turned into community. Months later, on that same street corner, Jacob and Caleb stood watching the shelter's doors open to the morning. Mary laughed inside, her voice strong again. Caleb squeezed his father's hand. "I'm glad you stopped," he said. "So am I," Jacob replied. Because sometimes, the richest thing a man can do is pause long enough to hear a whisper, and brave enough to answer it with his heart.